Pokémon is a game designed for children, so it makes sense that most of the trainers you fight are embarrassingly inept. However, Game Freak like to throw a few curveballs in here and there. Just when you think you're coasting through the game without taking a single hit from an opponent, you'll find yourself tearing your hair out over one Pokémon that one trainer has that you just can't seem to beat. So what are the top 5 hardest trainer battles in Pokémon history? Just to clarify, this video will only be looking at the mainline game battles from Gen 1 through to Gen 9, so we won't be covering games like Pokémon Colosseum or XD Gale of Darkness. In at number 5, we have a gym leader that nearly every Pokémon fan has broken a Nintendo DS over at some point, and that, of course, is Whitney from Gold and Silver or Heart Gold and Soul Silver. What's so frustrating about this particular gym is that all the trainers leading up to Whitney are a pushover, and even in the battle itself, her Clefairy is extremely easy to take out. It's only when her ace, Miltank, shows up that you really see why this gym battle has taken the lives of so many DS screen hinges. First things first, seeing as it doesn't evolve, Miltank has an insane base stat total of 490 for this stage of the game, with 105 base defense and 100 speed. So not only can it soak up all of your attacks, it's more than likely going to outspeed you as well. But we haven't even scratched the surface of why this Pokemon is so annoying yet. Its moveset is designed to stop you from attacking with Attract, make you flinch with Stomp, and then sweep your team with Rollout. And due to it being so tanky, if Miltank gets a Rollout going, you're more than likely in big trouble. Rollout is a move that doubles in power after each successive hit and lasts for 5 turns. It has a base power of only 20, but if it lands all 5 hits, it'll eventually hit for a ridiculous 320 damage. Your only hope when facing this move is that it misses at some point, which will break the streak and put it back to 20 damage again, but the chances of that happening are only 10%, so good luck. If you happen to have a fighting type like the Machop you can trade for, or a Heracross if you're playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver, then this gym isn't as bad. But the choices are few and far between, so the chances are you probably won't have one. Anyway, for all those reasons, Whitney is 5th on our list and is very deserving of her place. At number 4, we have the leader of Team Plasma, Ghetsis from Pokemon Black and White. Now, Ghetsis seems like he'd be an okay fight, what with you just having caught Reshiram or Zekrom for your team, but honestly, he's far from it. Seeing as it's the final battle of Black and White, he understandably has a pretty stacked party. His Pokemon levels range from 52 to 54 and cover most of the types in the game, so finding Pokemon on your team to take out each one is pretty difficult. The Cofagrigus, Bufalon, Seismitoad, Bisharp and Electros all pose a pretty big threat with varied movesets and strong base stats all round, but the Pokemon that makes this battle such a difficult one is Hydreigon. Ghetsis' level 54 ace is a Dragon and Dark type with a base stat total of 600, seeing as it's the pseudo-legendary of the Unova region. If this battle was after Gen 6, then it wouldn't be as bad because Hydreigon would be quad weak to Fairy, but sadly in this game you don't have that option. Instead, you had to stand by idle as it swept through your team with 4 incredibly powerful moves in Fire Blast, Surf, Dragon Pulse and Focus Blast. It was a brutal fight, but a very satisfying end to the game. The number 3 spot is taken up by an ancestor of a later addition in the list, which is a little bit of foreshadowing there, and it is indeed Volo from Pokemon Legends Arceus. This one's a little bit different from the others, as not only do you have to face his entire team of 6 Pokemon, which is no easy feat on its own to be clear, you then also have to fight a level 70 Giratina twice. The original 6 that you have to beat is also a nod to a later addition, as he starts off with a Spiritomb and has a Garchomp for his ace. All his Pokemon are level 68 as well, so if you're even remotely underleveled for this one, it's gonna be extremely difficult. Aside from the Garchomp and the 2 forms of Giratina, Volo also has some other hard-hitting team members like Togekiss, Lucario and Arcanine, which will all cause you problems in their own right, but perhaps the most frustrating thing about them all is that their type coverage is extremely good. Every single one of his Pokemon has dual typing, so all bases are covered. Both Giratinas are insanely powerful as well, so even if you do make it through his actual team, be prepared for one last dance. It's not the hardest battle in Pokemon history, but it will certainly cause you a lot of issues, and easily makes our top 5. So now we're into the top 2. Both these trainers are of course very challenging, but there's only one winner in my eyes, so at number 2 we have Red from Gold and Silver or Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Red is an optional final battle at the end of Generation 2 and really makes you work for its full completion. He actually starts with his ace, a Pikachu, which will either be level 81 or 88 depending on whether you're playing Gold and Silver or Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And even though it's his highest rated Pokemon, it won't be the biggest threat to you due to it being unevolved. It can still be annoying, don't get me wrong, but you should be able to take it out assuming you're not too underleveled. Then comes his Espeon and Snorlax, or Lapras and Snorlax if you're playing Gen 4, which both are in their mid 70s to low 80s, and can easily take out multiple team members of yours if you aren't careful. Once you get past the first three though, you have to then deal with his trio of Kanto starters, as he has a Blastoise, Charizard, and a Venusaur, just to make sure that all of the types are covered. Needless to say, these three can cause some serious problems, and not just because of their ridiculously high levels. There's a reason Red is an optional fight. He's the final challenge of the game, so it's supposed to give you a purpose to carry on playing and leveling up your team. I can't say I always try and beat him when I play through these games, but it's a pretty fun and infuriating battle whenever I do. This is it, the number 1 slot of the hardest trainers in Pokemon history. The first 4 were all exceptionally tough, but there can only be one winner. And I think everyone watching this right now knows exactly who it's going to be. Bruno from the Kanto Elite Four is a genuine god tier trainer. If there was ever a PogChamp of Pokemon, this is it right here. His 400 IQ plays of using rock type Pokemons as a fighting type trainer is unmatched, and no, of course it isn't Bruno. At number 1 we have the one and only Cynthia from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, or Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, Cynthia is infamous for being one of, if not the toughest trainer of all time, and this was back in Gen 4. Fast forward to Gen 8 and somehow Cynthia got even better. Her team is so well constructed that it must have been an intentional joke from Game Freak. In both Diamond and Pearl and BDSP, she literally has perfect IVs on all of her Pokemon. If her team was used in competitive play, it would genuinely clean up. It's ridiculous. But not only that, her team is also really well put together, with her ace Garchomp potentially being one of the toughest Pokemon to take out of all time. To back that up though, she has an insanely bulky Milotic which can take an absolute age to take down, combined with some pretty hard hitters like Spiritomb and Lucario, all making for a pretty miserable affair. They say this game is designed for ages 3+, but I can barely beat her now and I'm 27, so what actual chance does a 3-year-old have? In a weird way, Cynthia isn't actually that annoying to battle because you know what to expect, so it's somewhat of a fun challenge, but nah, who am I kidding, this battle is just brutal. So that was our list of the 5 hardest trainers to beat in Pokemon history. If you enjoyed this video, then you'll more than likely also enjoy the video that I've put on screen for you now.